Hello, my name's The Great Metaphor, and welcome to my developer Let's Play of Violet Raystorm. Hello! This is Violet Raystorm. And Violet Raystorm is probably the game I'm most proud of all the games I've made so far. And hopefully I'll get to explain a little bit why, but in the meantime, if you're familiar with your retro video games, you may think this looks a lot like Gradius. That's because it's supposed to. But it's not exactly like Gradius, and I'm not doing a very good job explaining that because this game's very fast-paced. Aside from being extremely purple, there is a major gameplay difference. Rather than killing groups of enemies to get your power-ups, you need to kill 3 enemies in a row, and your combo for that is indicated in the top left corner. Okay, bad example, you can't actually see that right now. Now you can. Parts of the HUD disappear if you get too close to the top or bottom of the screen, and oh, there's a lot of boobs. In the first level, it's pretty easy to get combos, but soon it's going to get difficult, and also we're to the first boss already. I mentioned this game's very fast-paced. I didn't even get the chance to talk about what the first boss was doing. Jeez. Already to the second level. We have these guys. They shoot electricity, except for the ones with this different cap. They shoot a spread of 3 bullets. Also, you may think they look like a certain shape. We're not going to talk about that shape. I just got hit. Oh dear. So, if you're not familiar with Gradius, you can only take 1 hit normally, and by getting a shield, you get a little bit of protection. And despite the fact that the shield only covers a small bit of the ship in front of it, it does protect from every side, but only for 1 shot. My other attacks are a spread gun, which isn't actually a good time to demonstrate the spread gun, but I didn't get the chance to talk about. It shoots in 2 directions instead of just 1. It shoots a bullet upwards and a bullet straight forward. Just like in Gradius. Just like in Gradius, I have bombs and a laser, which is far more powerful. Also, we're already to the second boss. Yeah. And yes, the second boss is just a reskin of some of the normal enemies. I still think he's an interesting boss. And he can also be really difficult if at low power. Goodness gracious, there's so much to talk about in this game. It's even worse than meta tanks. And these little things trailing behind me are the options. They have the same name as they do in... they have the same function as their... When did I take damage? The options that I no longer have the same function that they do in their namesake from Gradius. And this game does not have a speed-up function, and I really should have gotten either spread or bombs. I'll be fine though. So, I didn't get the chance to talk about the previous 2 bosses at all, but I do have the chance to talk about this boss, Lightning Generator. As you can tell, you might be able to tell, I can't actually damage him yet. Instead, I have to dodge these electric thingies while fighting bad guys for quite a while. And this is honestly one of the more difficult parts of the game in the first loop. Yeah, also, yes, there are multiple loops. The second one is going to be interesting though, so please stick around for it. the enemy layouts and bosses change significantly. Also, I just killed the boss. He becomes kind of helpless once he finally does appear. I just lost track of my train of thought. So, you may notice that sometimes it's hard to actually get proper combos in this game. Because as your power increases, and because it's a Gradius game, of course you want your power to increase, it becomes harder to get combos. And I consider this to be part of the strategy in this game, is getting high enough power-ups to kill everything, but also trying to manage your power well so you don't destroy everything indiscriminately and miss out on the score and power-ups from your combos. Here's another boss. And this boss is interesting because his behavior actually... Oh crap. I was hoping not to demonstrate that yet, but the behavior of this boss changes dramatically depending on the game's difficulty level. If you've played Gradius, you know the game gets harder based on how many power-ups you have. Same basic concept in this game. And I'll hopefully remember to make a clip or something, but that guy... his bullets actually get faster as his... as the difficulty setting goes up. You may think that'll make the game harder, but if I do in fact get that clip, record that clip, you'll see that instead of creating a big cloud of bullets, he can just kind of fly around in circles and he'll never be able to hit you. Anyway, we're already to the mini-boss at this stage, and I haven't even said a single thing about this level. I'm not doing a very good job demonstrating this, but these guys that I've been killing fairly easily are supposed to be really not easy to kill. It's probably a good time to address why this game is so unbelievably fast-paced and why the levels are so short. That's because I made it in a program called the TIC-80 Fantasy Computer. And if you haven't heard of it, by the way, I'm playing the final boss, and he is about as interesting as the final bosses in the Gradius games. The TIC-80 has some strict limitations. It has a very limited amount of programming space. I don't remember how. I should probably just record another video. Oh crap, I'm not meant to get hit there, but we are in the second loop, which gets a lot harder. If you're still watching, which hopefully you are, you may have noticed that the enemy patterns have changed quite dramatically, even the first level, and we have some new enemy types, and enemies also shoot lots of revenge bullets when they die. There are two other changes that I haven't addressed. One, bombs can now go up to level 2, which I've already demonstrated, and the spread gun can also go up to level 2, shooting in 3 directions instead of 2. And I won't be showing it on for very long because I prefer the laser gun, but I'm going to be showing it off for this boss apparently. It takes a very long time to kill with the spread gun. This is Bulwark, who, if you could not tell, was not the final boss, the stage boss of the first stage. So how this guy works is most of his sprites are fake, but there's one real one, and the real one shoots a different bullet. I think that's the first time I actually got to properly describe a boss in this game, other than heavy rolling. If I had the laser gun, he'd already be dead, but I don't have the laser gun because I wanted to show off the spread gun. Now, I said at the start of this video that I think this is the game I'm most proud of. And why is that? Well, I think it holds I think it gets closer to its full potential than any of the other games I make. It wants to be a Gradius clone, and I think it does a pretty good job being a Gradius clone. This level, the layout doesn't change as much, since rather than terrain, it's built around the sausage-shaped enemies, the Goron. So there wasn't as much I could change about that. Another reason why I think this is my best game is I actually planned it very well. As I said, there's a lot of limitations to this framework that I'm using. The point of it is to sort of emulate how it was like to make games in the 8-bit era, where you had to get very creative in order to fit a sizable game into the system. And it's a bit easier. You can use modern programming languages like Lua instead of assembly, and it has a robust built-in system for making all different parts of the game, but it is still quite limited. But I did make a game that's decently long and varied in the Take 80, which not a lot of people do. Yes, a few people do. I won't even say I'm the close to being the person to do it best. That'd probably be the guy who made Balmung. But I still think I did an interesting... I still think I did a good job making this game. Okay. What? Why did... was... So this boss is called Hillardian, and it's... Hillardian might be the hardest boss in the game. Probably is, in fact. So the way he works is that he summons some dudes, and then he transforms into a larger ship, and then you can attack him. And then he explodes, but he comes back, and you repeat that 3 times, and probably die because this boss is very difficult. But once you repeat it 3 times, he's dead. But the good news is, this is the only boss in the game that has checkpoints. That can also happen. I said this is my best game. I did not say it's perfect. In fact, I've talked a little bit about how I want to make some revisions to my games. Oh jeez. And this is one of the levels I want to make some big revisions to. I don't want to change it too much, I want it to be the same basic concept for a level. But Guardian has some balance issues, and I have some skill issues. I can't fix that with an update. Okay, need a lock-in. Get the laser immediately. Let's try to get a shield. I did not get a shield in time. This may be the hardest stage in the game, but I usually don't have this much trouble. Oh, this is not even my best run. Okay, it's fine though. Once you get to this part, it's easy. And now we're gonna get to his third phase, which is I'm probably gonna die to as well. But here's another thing I want to change about this fight is this phase, which is probably his least interesting phase, both in concept and in execution, especially in execution though. And he's also just kind of annoying compared to the other phases since you have to chase him around the arena and he's super fast, but it's not too bad because nothing in this game takes very long. So, now we're back in the fourth stage, and I'm a bit surprised I made it past there. And the game's starting to get really difficult by now. Yeah. I don't remember where the checkpoint is for this level, so I don't know if I'm safe yet. I don't think I'm safe though. I'm not going to try to play this optimally, please just give me a shield. Now, what is there to say? Well, I'm about to make it to another boss. So that should give me something interesting to talk about. This is Tankatron, a boss that you really should have the bombs for. I do not have bombs for this boss. And this is another boss I'm not terribly proud of. One, because he just kind of looks a bit goofy, not particularly good at making retro-style sprites like this. But bigger issue is, well, his attack pattern just isn't very complex for how long this fight is. So I want to alter him some, maybe make him drive closer to the right side of the screen, maybe give him some extra attacks. Nothing too crazy, he is one of the more difficult bosses already. But here we're to the final stage again, and this stage has the smallest amount of variance. I didn't know, get the bomb again. I don't know. The smallest amount of variance in the enemy layout, but if you did not notice, I'm killing these guys way easier than I was before, and I also did not get my options taken from me this time. And what you probably have not seen is that these guys are trying to shoot at you this time around. And okay, this time when you fight this mini boss, he splits a whole bunch of times and he's super difficult, and I am amazed I beat him first try without taking any damage. Because that guy's super difficult. Although, if I am not very careful, I might have to fight him again and see just how difficult he is. But here we are to the final boss again, and he is almost exactly the same as the first time we fought him. He just has more health and a different wave of enemies that spawns at the start, and that's kind of it. I've been losing my breath a lot during this Let's Play, and that's because I've been getting very excited playing this game. Again, it's my favorite game that I've created, and it's also incredibly fast-paced. 11 levels, an average of 2 levels, that's an average of 2 minutes per level, I think. I don't think I did the math right here. I'm not fighting this guy correctly. This is the true final boss, by the way, third place again, and I don't think I'm going to win on my first attempt. There's a lot going on in this fight, and I don't just mean what's on screen. I mean... oh jeez. There's a lot going on you don't see. This boss has a gimmick where if you unlike Gradius, most bosses don't have a time limit, but this boss does. And unlike the time limit in most Gradius games, rather than the boss dying when it's timed out, you die. See that terrain there? It will slowly close in on you when you die. He also has way more health than any other boss in the game, and until you get to the part where you're closing in Ray, he regenerate his health, and once he does get to the point with the regenerating train, you can shoot an extra bullet. That was Raystorm for the taking. I'm handing it off to future me for the outro and other fun facts about this game. Whew, that was a lot of game. I can barely keep up with it when commentating. But before I go, I want to show you a few things. First is the difference between heavy rolling at high power versus low power. As you can see, when you're at low power, the boss actually has much faster projectiles. But this makes him way easier because he can just fly in circles. But that's actually something a few players weren't able to catch on to for some reason. The second is this safe spot during the Tankatron boss fight. And lastly, there's a safe spot during the first phase of the King of Shadows boss. The thing is, it's actually harder to get into this safe spot than it is to fight him normally, so I wouldn't recommend using this for anything other than showing off. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or comment, and please subscribe for more content on my video games.
Thank you so much for watching.